The FBI has just uncovered a shocking secret in Whoopi Goldberg's mansion, a discovery that stunned even veteran agents. Why did they raid the legendary actress's property? What is being hidden behind those closed doors? And more importantly, why has the public never known the truth? The evidence just found has changed everything we thought about Goldberg, and this story is just beginning. Under the dim streetlights of early dawn, the neighborhood where Whoopi Goldberg's mansion is located is so peaceful that you can hear the sound of leaves gently touching the pavement. But this morning, that tranquility was shattered by the sound of roaring engines, hurried footsteps, and an atmosphere so tense you could cut it with a knife. It was only about 5 a.m. The sun had not yet risen. The neighbors were still asleep, except for a few elderly people who had a habit of waking up early to walk. But they quickly realized something was very strange. A convoy of black, license plateless SUVs suddenly appeared, moving slowly but powerfully. Men in black suits, bulletproof vests, and sunglasses stepped out of the cars, their faces expressionless. They quickly surrounded Whoopi Goldberg's mansion, taking over all entrances, preventing anyone from approaching or leaving. Then bang! 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 The knock on the door echoed like thunder in the early morning. There was no gentleness or hesitation. This was not a regular visit. This was a raid. Someone inside the mansion moved. Light shone from the upstairs window, signaling that the owner of the house had woken up. The large wooden door slowly opened, and there stood Whoopi Goldberg, the woman the entire United States knows, who has experienced all the ups and downs of Hollywood, but has never faced a situation like this. Although just awakened, Whoopi maintained her usual composure. She wore a light gray robe, her hair falling naturally. Her eyes scanned the group of agents standing at the door. There was no fear, just surprise and a little confusion. What's going on? Her voice was calm but sharp. One of the agents stepped forward, presented an FBI badge, and then pulled a file from a black briefcase. We have a search warrant. This is a federal investigation. That statement was like a bomb exploding in the morning mist. As soon as the door opened, the agents quickly entered, taking over the space inside the mansion. The neighbors, who had begun to gather out of curiosity, now stood in groups, gossiping. Who would have thought? Whoopi Goldberg! A middle-aged woman shook her head in disbelief. She's a big star. How could she be involved with the FBI? Another whispered. However, the gossip only added to the tension. Some reporters had caught wind of the incident and quickly arrived, raising their cameras high, trying to capture every moment. Local police were also dispatched to control the crowd. They set up barricades, preventing anyone from getting too close to the mansion area. Flashes from cameras flickered continuously, reflecting on the FBI car windows, creating a chaotic and dramatic scene. Meanwhile, inside the luxurious mansion, a thorough search was underway. Agents split into groups, each with a clear task. They checked every room, opened every drawer, moved every book on the shelf, leaving no detail overlooked. Whoopi stood silently in the middle of the living room, her arms crossed. Her eyes did not leave those who were ransacking her house. She knew one thing. The FBI did not knock on her door for no reason, but the question was why. What could make them suspect her? An agent approached, looked her straight in the eye, and said sternly, "Would you like us to call your lawyer?" Whoopi took a deep breath and nodded. "I think that's the right thing to do." No one knew exactly what the FBI was looking for, but one thing was certain: they had a very serious reason to conduct this raid. Some agents wearing white gloves were carefully opening a drawer in Whoopi's personal library. This was where she kept many important documents, including scripts, contracts, and personal letters written over the decades. One of the agents pulled out a stack of documents, flipping through each page slowly. On the other side of the house, another team was checking the basement, a rarely visited area. Old dusty boxes were opened, each item carefully examined. Then suddenly, an agent exclaimed, "I think we found something." Immediately, the entire FBI team in the mansion gathered. A metal box was pulled out from a hidden corner, It was locked, with no signs of being tampered with in years. Whoopi, standing not far away, squinted. "I've never seen that box before," she said slowly. The agents exchanged glances and quickly took the box outside. They did not open it immediately, but carefully sealed it and transferred it to a specialized vehicle. After hours of searching, the FBI finally left the mansion. They said nothing to the press. No official statements were issued. All that remained were unanswered questions and a famous actress standing in her mansion, full of doubt. The crowd outside began to disperse, but the stories continued to spread. Newspaper headlines immediately appeared. FBI raids Whoopi Goldberg's house. What's happening? Secrets in Whoopi's mansion. What did the FBI find? The whole of America was waiting for answers, but only those inside the investigation knew the truth. And that truth could change everything. Whoopi Goldberg has never been a stranger to controversy. As one of Hollywood's most famous faces, she has experienced countless ups and downs in her career, from resounding victories on the silver screen to moments of intense criticism for her personal views. But this time, everything is completely different. This is not just a debate on television or a critical article in a magazine. The FBI is not involved because of controversial statements. They are investigating her seriously. The raid on Whoopi Goldberg's mansion was not a spontaneous action. Those in law enforcement understand that the FBI never conducts a search unless they have gathered sufficient evidence. This raises a big question. How long have they been watching Whoopi? According to many inside sources, the FBI began to keep an eye on the actress months ago. No one knows exactly what they are looking for, but one thing is certain. This is no small matter. Federal agencies do not waste time on trivial cases. If they have issued a search warrant, they certainly believe that something truly serious is happening. But the biggest question remains. What made Whoopi Goldberg a target? Some legal experts hypothesize that this could be a financial investigation. In recent years, many celebrities have been prosecuted for tax issues or shady business activities. But if it were just a tax issue, why would the FBI seem so tense? Why would they send an armed task force to the home of an elderly actress? Is there something else more worrying going on? Throughout her decades-long career, Whoopi Goldberg has repeatedly faced intense public scrutiny. She is not afraid to speak her mind, even if it might get her into trouble. She has been criticized for her statements on The View, where she was a co-host for many years. Heated debates with guests, controversial comments about politics and society, all of which made her one of the divisive figures in the entertainment industry. But despite many controversies, Whoopi has never faced a risk that truly affected her career as much as this. As soon as news of the raid spread, social media exploded with a series of hypotheses. Reddit, Twitter, and TikTok forums were filled with posts about Whoopi Goldberg. Some people believed this was just a misunderstanding. Others raised conspiracy theories about what the FBI might be investigating. The media did not miss this opportunity. Sensational headlines began to appear in every newspaper. Hollywood shocked. FBI raids Whoopi Goldberg's house. What's going on? One of America's greatest actresses under investigation. Could this end her career? The incident even became a hot topic on late-night talk shows. Hosts like Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert mentioned the event with sarcastic remarks. But behind those jokes was an undeniable truth. Whoopi Goldberg's reputation was facing a major storm. When the FBI left Whoopi Goldberg's mansion, they did not issue any official statements. There was no indictment, no announcement of charges, no explanation of the mysterious box they took away. But their silence only made the story more dramatic. Whoopi's fans worried that this could be the end of her legendary career. Advertising contracts, film invitations, even her role on The View could be threatened if the investigation continued. Meanwhile, her opponents were gleeful. Some haters began to post mocking articles, claiming this was retribution for her controversial statements in the past. But Whoopi Goldberg is not the type to be easily knocked down. Just a few days after the raid, Whoopi finally broke her silence. In a special episode of The View, she appeared before the audience with a calm demeanor, but her eyes contained an undisguised anger. "I know what y'all are saying. I've heard everything, but let me be very clear, I have nothing to hide." She didn't say much about the investigation, but her message was clear. She would not let this incident destroy her career and reputation. But would her words be enough to quell the rumors? The FBI has not yet released details about the investigation, which means the mystery continues. The question now is, what is really going on? And more importantly, can Whoopi Goldberg weather this storm? A thick silence enveloped Whoopi Goldberg's luxurious mansion as the FBI agents entered. The dim light from flashlights swept across every corner, every bookshelf, every perfectly hung painting. But what they were looking for was not in plain sight. It was hidden deep within the secrets of this house. As the search progressed, an agent noticed something odd on the wall behind the office. A small, almost invisible groove ran along the base of the wall. At first, it seemed like a normal decorative detail, but when an agent accidentally touched it, a click echoed in the quiet space. The entire task force stopped. Their eyes turned towards the wall. One of the agents, experienced in discovering hidden rooms, bent down and ran his hand along the groove. Once again, a click sounded, but this time it was accompanied by an unusual change. A section of the wall began to move, revealing a small door that was not on the mansion's blueprints. The agents quickly exchanged glances. No one knew what was behind that door. And in a tense moment, they reached for their guns, prepared for anything that might happen. The door opened into a narrow passage leading down to a dark basement. The air inside was thick with a musty smell, as if it had not been touched in years. And then they entered. The secret room was unlike any other place in the mansion. There was no natural light, only dusty wooden shelves and an old table in the middle of the room. But what really caught the agent's attention were the metal boxes neatly stacked in a corner. Each box was tightly sealed, seemingly untouched for years. An agent opened the first box. Inside were a series of old documents, many marked confidential. Some of the papers had yellowed with age, but their contents were still intact. Another agent flipped through these documents and immediately recognized familiar names, some powerful figures in the entertainment industry and politics. But the most shocking thing was not these documents. It was an object at the bottom of the box, an old letter, handwritten on thick parchment paper, sealed with a red wax seal. This letter had existed for decades, perhaps longer. But what really stunned the FBI was the sender. The seal bore a special symbol, an emblem that had appeared in a major case the FBI had never solved. The lead agent carefully picked up the letter, examining each stroke. The sender did not sign their full name, but part of the letter revealed a crucial clue. If this letter is found, it means the truth was never meant to be known. The words were cryptic, mysterious, as if written for someone in the future, or perhaps to warn someone. But the question was, how did this letter end up in Whoopi Goldberg's house? Based on the wax seal and the letter's content, the FBI suspected it was related to a mysterious case from many years ago, a case they had never made public. Some internal sources revealed that this case was related to one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood history, an unsolved disappearance, a secret hidden by those in power. But the most important thing was, did Whoopi Goldberg know about the existence of this room? Was she aware of these secret documents? Or was this something she accidentally possessed without knowing? The FBI knew they could not jump to conclusions. These documents could be crucial evidence for a long-forgotten case, or they could be the key to exposing a truth that many wanted to hide. But one thing was certain. The investigation did not end there. News of the secret room immediately leaked. Media outlets jumped on the story, competing to report this new discovery. FBI finds hidden vault in Whoopi Goldberg's mansion. What was she hiding? Theories spread from plausible stories to unbelievable conspiracy theories. Some believed that Whoopi Goldberg might be holding important information about a secret in Hollywood. Others even suggested that there might be a larger conspiracy behind the whole thing. But whatever the case, Whoopi Goldberg was now not just a famous actress. She had become the center of one of the biggest mysteries the FBI had ever faced. And the biggest question remained unanswered. What did that letter really say? And where would it lead the FBI? News of the FBI's raid on Whoopi Goldberg's mansion spread like wildfire. Within hours, major newspapers, television stations, and social media were flooded with sensational headlines. Netizens dived into analyzing every revealed detail, but no one could have imagined that at that moment the FBI was beginning to piece together clues from the documents found in the secret room. And it seemed everything was leading to an incredible hypothesis. Could Whoopi Goldberg be involved in a shocking incident in Hollywood history? When the FBI examined the sealed documents in the secret room, they realized that most of them were not just personal papers. Some documents contained letters exchanged between Whoopi Goldberg and high-profile figures in the entertainment industry, directors, producers, even those behind the most powerful corporations in Hollywood. In particular, there was a series of letters exchanged with a name that caught the agent's attention: Howard L. Emerson. This name might not be familiar to the public, but in investigative circles, it was a crucial clue. Emerson was a highly influential film producer in the 1970s to 1990s, but then he abruptly left the industry and mysteriously disappeared from Hollywood. His last public appearance was in 1994, just before a financial scandal involving one of the biggest studios at the time broke out. It was rumored that he had left the United States and cut off all contact with Hollywood. So why did Whoopi Goldberg have letters exchanged with such a person? One of the documents that particularly caught the FBI's attention was a handwritten letter signed by Whoopi Goldberg sent in 1993. The letter contained the passage, "I know what happened that night. If the truth comes out, we're all in trouble." Which, that night, was it? And what happened that made someone like Whoopi worry enough to write these words? Another letter, sent a few months later, seemed to be trying to reassure someone. They won't find anything. Just stay quiet. These letters could be evidence of a larger conspiracy, but the FBI had not yet determined their true context. However, as they continued to search through other documents, one piece of evidence made everything clearer: an old VHS tape with the words, "Do not watch. Private." The agents immediately took the tape to the lab to recover its contents. But just looking at its worn surface was enough to know that if there was anything important inside, it might have been hidden for decades. As the FBI continued their investigation, they realized that Whoopi Goldberg had close relationships with a small group of powerful figures in the film industry in the late 80s and early 90s. Among them were names rumored to be involved in a major scandal, a case that had been covered up or forgotten by the media over time. In 1991, a young actor suddenly disappeared from Hollywood after accusing a powerful figure of misconduct. However, the case was quickly silenced, and the accuser's identity was never made public. Now, the FBI was asking, did Whoopi Goldberg know about this incident? Was she involved in some way, whether intentionally or unintentionally? And most importantly, were the documents found in her house the key to reopening this buried case? As soon as news of the documents in the mansion leaked, the public began to panic. Whoopi Goldberg's fans, who had followed her for decades, were confused by the new hypotheses. Some people suggested that she might have been inadvertently involved in a past incident that she herself did not foresee. Others believed that she might be hiding an important secret, and the FBI search was just the first step in uncovering everything. The FBI was now facing a mountain of documents that could change how the public viewed Whoopi Goldberg. What they found in the secret room might be just the tip of the iceberg, with much more to be discovered below. What did that VHS tape contain? Were the letters really related to a major scandal in the past? And if the truth was revealed, how would it affect Whoopi Goldberg's career and reputation? One thing was certain: the investigation was not over, and what the FBI found next could change everything. The FBI's raid on Whoopi Goldberg's mansion not only shocked Hollywood, but also sparked a series of speculations across the media. A series of hypotheses were raised. What was she hiding? Were the seized documents related to a shocking secret? And why did the FBI act so decisively? For days, the public could only guess. But then, in the midst of the storm, Whoopi Goldberg finally broke her silence. And what she said left everyone astonished. In an exclusive interview on one of America's biggest television shows, Whoopi Goldberg appeared calm but determined. When the host asked about the raid, she took a deep breath, looked straight into the camera, and said, "Listen, I woke up one morning with the FBI in my living room. If you think that's a fun way to start your day, you're very wrong." From the first words, Whoopi showed that she had no intention of avoiding the issue. When asked about the mysterious documents seized by the FBI, she laughed and said, "They found some old letters, some movie scripts, and apparently a bunch of history books. I guess I should have warned them that I'm a collector." She continued to assert that the documents in the secret room were nothing to worry about. They were simply a personal collection, a memory of her decades-long career. But what surprised the public most was a completely new revelation. The secret room was not a place to hide shocking secrets. It was actually a personal museum. I have always been fascinated by Hollywood history, especially the parts people tend to forget. That room was just my little collection of things I found interesting over the years. She explained that the letters exchanged with Howard L. Emerson, the person being investigated by the FBI, were actually just conversations about film projects that were never made. "We talked about movies that never got made, stories that were too controversial for their time. That's it. No conspiracy, no crime, just two people who love cinema." However, the interview did not stop at explaining the seized documents. When asked if she thought the raid was a conspiracy to bring her down, Whoopi paused for a moment, then answered with a cryptic smile. "Let's just say Hollywood is full of surprises. Some people don't like it when you ask too many questions." This statement immediately ignited a series of new speculations. Who was behind this investigation? Was someone deliberately targeting Whoopi Goldberg to discredit her? Some industry sources began to leak information that the FBI had received an anonymous tip leading to the raid on Whoopi's mansion. But who was behind this information, and why did they want to drag Whoopi Goldberg into such an incident? Immediately after the interview aired, public opinion was divided. Some people believed that Whoopi was completely innocent, that she was just a victim of a misunderstanding or even a political conspiracy. But many people still felt suspicious. Why would the FBI raid her mansion if everything was so simple? And, most importantly, was there something that Whoopi Goldberg had not yet revealed? No matter how plausible her story was, there were still too many unanswered questions. The VHS tape that the FBI found in the secret room had not yet been released. Was it just an old movie, or did it actually contain something that could change everything? The answer was still ahead. And perhaps this was just the beginning of a much bigger mystery. In the days following the incident, a wave of strong reactions from studios, colleagues, and fans reshaped the landscape of the entertainment industry. Whoopi Goldberg, a cinematic legend, one of Hollywood's icons, now stood in the midst of an unprecedented storm. Could she weather it, or would this be an indelible stain on her career? In less than a week after the raid, major studios began to take clear actions. A film project involving Whoopi Goldberg, which was in development, was suddenly frozen indefinitely. A Hollywood source revealed, "Studios are being cautious. Nobody wants to be associated with controversy right now." A documentary about Hollywood history that she was producing lost its funding, citing the need to reassess the project's suitability. Even The View, the television show where Whoopi Goldberg was a co-host, fell into a tense situation as some sponsors began to withdraw. Hollywood is a pragmatic place. When you shine, the world follows you. But when you get caught in a scandal, they quickly turn their backs. Whoopi Goldberg's situation quickly became a hot topic in the media, and the artistic community couldn't ignore it. Some spoke out in her defense, asserting that the FBI's raid was unreasonable and unfounded. But not everyone was supportive. Some industry figures were cautious, avoiding mentioning Whoopi Goldberg in interviews. Even colleagues who had worked with her quietly deleted old posts related to her on social media. Clearly, not everyone was willing to risk their reputation to stand by her. While Hollywood was divided, the public was also caught in two opposing opinions. A segment of fans believed that Whoopi Goldberg was the victim of a grand conspiracy, that the FBI had overstepped and lacked convincing evidence. But there were also those who felt uneasy. The unanswered questions, the mysteries surrounding the seized documents, and especially the FBI's failure to release an official investigation conclusion made it impossible for them to fully side with Whoopi Goldberg. Public opinion was divided, and that made Whoopi Goldberg's situation more precarious than ever. While Hollywood was abuzz, the FBI remained silent. There were no official announcements, no new information, no updates on the investigation. This silence only added to the mystery. Was the FBI preparing a major statement? Or did they realize they had gone in the wrong direction and were looking for a way to quietly withdraw? A media analyst observed, "Sometimes silence is more dangerous than words. If the FBI doesn't clarify soon, people will start filling in the blanks themselves." And indeed, when there were no answers, the wildest theories began to emerge. Some tabloids even suggested that there was a shadowy force in the entertainment industry trying to bring down Whoopi Goldberg. But whether the story was true or not, the clearest thing at this moment was that Whoopi Goldberg's reputation was seriously threatened. The most important question now was, could Whoopi Goldberg recover from this shock? Hollywood has seen many stars fall from grace after major scandals, but there have also been those who have been reborn, overcoming everything to continue shining. Whoopi Goldberg is a strong woman, a talented actress, and one of the most influential people in the entertainment industry. But would that be enough to help her withstand this storm? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. This story was not over. The FBI found something unexpected, but the biggest question remained. What did this mean for Whoopi Goldberg? A new chapter had been opened, and the public had only seen the first page. The truth would continue to unravel, and the next secrets could be even more shocking.